Now, brothers and sisters, I want to take a moment and to say something about courage. Courage is not something that we get from the Wizard of Oz. But yet, courage is something that we can get. But Amjad, over the years, I noticed some similarities between the black struggle, the struggle of African Americans, and the struggle of Muslims. I see a lot of similarities. I don't know if you knew that, but Michael Jackson used to be black. No, really. Honest, you should, he was. No, I know him. He used to be black.
That is.
No, really. If you go back, he used to have good hair. You know what good hair is? Good hair is natural hair. He had a nice nose. Now, admittedly, it was a little broader. And his lips were thick. And it was changed. All of that was changed. The color of the skin was changed. Everything. Even the chin was changed. He used to be black. And the reason I say that, brothers and sisters, those of you who saw the movie Malcolm X, how many saw the movie Malcolm X? Notice in the movie Malcolm X, Denzel Washington, the one who played Malcolm, in the beginning of the movie, he had what is called conked hair. You know what conked hair was? In the early 50s and early 60s, black men, many of them, would conk their hair and make their hair straight. And the reason that they made their hair straight, because the society at that time conspired to make the African American feel less than a human being and make them feel inferior. So things that you would read in the book and make it seem like black was ugly, everything negative was black, and therefore black people, believe it or not, you can ask some of the African Americans who've been around for years, ask them how even black people used to put skin cream on to make their skin lighter. They will tell you. Because of this inferiority complex. But in the 60s, something happened. There was a cultural revolution. And in that cultural revolution, the writers of black writers began to write about the greatness and the history of the African history and black history and the great contributions that were made. And they had songs that sang, "I'm black and I'm proud." And you notice now that black men stopped conking their hair, but they started wearing afros. I wish I could show you a picture. When I first became a Muslim, I had a big afro like that. I mean, my afro is so big you can land a helicopter on it. And then we wore dashikis. So it was an attempt now to give back to slave master what he gave us. Some of my immigrant brothers may not understand why African American men and women so often change their name. We recognize the fact that once you become Muslim, you don't have to change your name, you keep your name. And so most of our immigrant brothers are surprised when they see African Americans become Muslim, they change their name. They don't realize that the names that we had, my name, my last name, was the name of my grandfather. And my grandfather's father was a slave. And the slave master named my great-grandfather by his name. And that's how the slave masters named their slaves, by their name. Whatever the slave master name was, they gave that name to the slave. And so that when black people became liberated and they became free, then they kept the name of their slave masters. And once we became Muslim, we said, we don't want your name no more. I'm not Jeffrey, I'm Siraj Wahhaj. And so these brothers began, Imam Jamil Al-Amin began to change their name. Abdullah Hakim began to change their name to Muslim names. And you will notice that in the 60s and the 70s that many parts of the inner cities, even non-Muslims would change their names and take black sounding names, African sounding names, Muslim names. as a form of liberation. Now, in my conclusion, brothers and sisters, how do we get courage? And I just like to mention a few ways and how we can get courage. You know, those African Americans who stood up and were very happy to sing songs like "I'm Black and I'm Proud," and a few of them stood up, and as a result of a few of them standing up, others become proud of themselves. Great leaders like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Hajj Malik Shabazz would begin to stand up and give a sense of courage, because sometimes courage is contagious. And you have leaders who are strong and bold and brave and full of courage, then the followers become the same way. So, that leader is so brave. And so sometimes courage is contagious. Yeah.